What's up, guys? Galaxus here, and we are ready to kick off this new series that I'm going to be working on. It's just really trying to bring enlightenment to the world, expose people to new ideas that they may not have already been exposed to, and hopefully help them to change their perception and, just raise consciousness, raise awareness around the world. So that's really what I want to try and do with this new series, Galaxus Inspires. So what we're going to do today, we're going to start off talking about something that, I think when I thought about how I should start this series, I thought, man, really I really need to lay a foundation so we can talk about some of the more serious, the more heavy things. We need to really lay a foundation. And, I want to bring you guys all to the same level of awareness that I have. So, what we want to do, and I'm not saying that I have a super high level of awareness or anything. I mean, that might not have even come off the right way, but I want to have you guys be able to know the things that I know, and together we can share. You guys can tell me some of the things that you know, and together we can share those with each other, because it's all about the human experience. And it's all about finding connections between each and every individual on the planet, and just loving everybody, man, and really trying to, come together and treat each other properly, and, just find the respect for every single culture, background, religion, just find appreciation. And that's what the series is all about, trying to inspire people to, just see things differently. So, what we're going to do, we're going to start talking about something that's pretty important. I think before you can really experience a lot of growth, a lot of consciousness, raising of your consciousness, a lot of spiritual growth, you have to have some type of a foundation to work with. Now, a lot of people out there, they already, have a spiritual background or spiritual faith, a belief, something that brings them to that higher level of thinking. And, people will tell you there's all types of different ways to find this higher level of thinking, to find the higher realm and to connect to that higher realm. People use all types of different belief systems, religious backgrounds, belief systems to essentially express the same thing across cultures, different cultures. So really what we need to do, and one of the things that we're going to be talking about today, is really trying to find the unifying force that is between all of those belief systems across the world. And, one of the things that connects pretty much every belief system is some type of a facet of spirituality. So what we have to do then is we have to start to talk about spirituality. I think that's where we need to start, because, I think that is a foundation that you really need to have in order to continue to grow spiritually. So what we're going to talk about then is new technologies. There are new technologies that are available now that weren't even 10 years ago. Now, everybody out there is familiar with going to a dentist or a doctor's appointment and having an x-ray done, or going in, if you have a baby on the way, and having an ultrasound done just because you want to make sure that the baby's coming along okay. We're all comfortable with using those technologies. We use them because they're reliable and we know that they're accurate. We get accurate readings every time, okay? And so we can use those in science and medicine. Now, what exactly is it that those machines are doing? If you got an x-ray or an ultrasound machine, what they're doing is they're taking measurements of the electromagnetic field, okay? And by taking those measurements, they're able to provide us with information about whatever it is that they're measuring, okay? Now, the electromagnetic spectrum covers everything from gamma rays to x-rays, all the way down to microwaves, radio waves, FM, AM radio, television, all of that stuff. Everything is covered. Visible light is right there around the middle if you take a look at this graph here real quick. And, that's basically, they're using technology that was developed almost 50 years ago by James Zimmerman and David Cohen at MIT. And back then, they were using the technology to study brainwave patterns and the energy that's in a brain, and also taking a look at, human bodily organs, and just trying to understand the human body. And, it was very helpful for science. And what they've done is they've continued to work on new technologies that can be able to monitor or measure the different parts of the electromagnetic spectrum. What we're talking about here is very scientific, and that, I think, is one of the biggest things for the scientific minds, those scientific minds out there. We have to actually have some scientific proof, some foundation, in order to be able to accept some information. Now, I know there are a lot of people out there that have no problem at all connecting to the higher realm and finding their spirituality. And I know that there are other people out there that are scientific-minded individuals that have a hard time accepting new ideas without empirical evidence. And the need to have that evidence is driven by the ego. Egotistical thinking is going to continue to look for ways to invalidate whatever circumstances or experiences that we have that don't fit into the confinements of the reality that the ego has created. And so what we'll find is, even if something miraculous has taken place, where you just cannot, and guys, I want to take a couple seconds here to explain. When I talk about miraculous, the definition of a miracle is anything that cannot be explained by any natural law or phenomenon. So when we're talking about a miracle, we're just talking about anything that you just have no explanation for how it possibly could have happened. And, we experience those things, different kinds of electric phenomenon, different types of things like that, that are just really unexplainable. And when you do explain, get some of those unexplainable things, we consider that to be miraculous, a miracle. And a lot of the time, those miracles are really an attempt to communicate from a higher realm. But somebody with a scientific mind is going to constantly try to invalidate that information. And so, I know that there's a lot of people that need this empirical evidence in order to move forward and to continue to build a solid foundation in spirituality. Now, what I wanted to do is I wanted to bring to your attention this document that I've been reading. Well, I took a little bit of time to read. It's not a really long document. It'll probably take you a few minutes to read. But, this is, they really have done a great job, and I think it's a really good tool for the scientific mind. Now, the organization that published this document is the Center for Human Energy Field Research. And they state in the document that they will provide evidence to show that the HEF is the interface for effective medical diagnosis and efficient non-invasive treatment. They say that this will be achieved through utilization of new scanning techniques such as PIP and ESM that provide an early warning system of possible diseases. And they say that that is due to the fact that HEF shows energy imbalances before the physiological disease manifests. This allows corrective measures to be taken before the onset of physical symptoms and the subsequent expense of hospitalization. So what they're saying in this document is that they want to use technology to be able to look at your energy field and find imbalances, sort of like what we've heard of people who are super sensitive. They can actually see energy fields. They want to be able to do that in a professional environment and be able to look and find imbalances in your energy field, knowing that that can actually lead to manifestation of diseases at a later point. So they go on further to explain in this document that they want to start to track and create a profile for different individuals or different illnesses, what we like to say actually, for different illnesses, and sort of understand how they relate to different energy field imbalances. Use that to be able to create a database that can be referenced when they find these type of imbalances in people around the world. So this is really, really concrete evidence for those people out there that are, a really empirical minded, scientific minded individuals. A lot of time have a hard time accepting a lot of the spiritual ideas that they, are exposed to. And so the whole idea that I am proposing here is that we can use this, the scientific-minded individuals can use this to create a foundation of spirituality. Because what they're saying here, they're showing us that the thousands of years of information out there, from everything from Vedantic scriptures to traditional Chinese medicine, Eastern medicine. Everywhere around the world has a way of explaining or understanding about the human energy field. And so what they're doing here is they're giving us the ability to assess that, to be able to bring that into a scientific surrounding, and that way we can be able to embrace that. Because one of the biggest things is the egotistical thinking minded. It's really scientific minded, and in order to prove to the ego that these things do exist, that there is an unseen world, that there's an invisible world, you might want to say, a spiritual realm, that there is interaction between a higher realm. And what they're showing here with a human energy field is that there's multiple layers, just as it's been described in Vedantic scriptures, just as people who study chakra imbalances understand that there are multiple levels of this energy field, and they represent different aspects of our emotional state. And the soul is one of those fields as well. And so I'm going to leave that up to you to go further to look into that, and we'll talk about it in some future videos. I'm also going to leave you guys a link to this video, or to this document in the video, so you can look in the description of the video. You can find a link to that document from the Center for Human Energy Field Research, so you can take a couple minutes. It's not a really long document, probably take you a half an hour or less to read it, or possibly a little bit more. But you can take a chance to read that and see for yourself. I always suggest that people don't just take any information. Always research, always search for the truth, and find the root truth to everything. And so that's one thing that I would suggest. Take some time to go out, expand your mind, get the information. But this is really an opportunity for those people who are empirical minded, scientific minded, to begin to have a foundation in spirituality. Because now that we're starting to develop the technology to actually see this energy field around people, then we can validate all of the thousands of years of scriptures and just the study on the human soul, on that. But this will give you a foundation to understand that there is an unseen world. There's interaction between higher realms, and really give you an opportunity to begin to build that foundation, because you have to have a solid foundation to build anything. Without a solid foundation, whatever you're trying to build will crumble. So I wanted to do that for everybody out there. Get this going. This is the very first episode. You guys leave me some comments. Let me know how you feel about it. Let's just really open up a commentary. Let's talk about it. I want to know your feelings. I want to know your thoughts. Right now, I'm asking for supreme blessings and divine guidance for everybody out there, that you guys have a peaceful and happy day. And just stay positive. I'll catch you guys in the next video. I'm out of here. Peace.